Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Good morning, American. It's Friday.
With a big Friday show lined up for you. What do we settle on for the name of this? It's like Free Thought Friday?
Free Think Friday?
Free Think Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, all of that.
Yeah, and more. All of that and so much more. Today, we're freely thinking about January 6th, the day democracy almost died.
Almost died.
And as Joe Biden pointed out just the other day, it was also the day we almost lost America. Man.
I got news for you. We
Chilling.
already have.
Chilling.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, is there going to be enough of it to save once this guy's done with his reign of terror?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. But we do know that 3 years ago, this month, democracy almost died.
We do know that.
And one of the people who almost killed it is joining us. In fact, a couple of them are joining us on the show today. We're going to start with, you know him probably maybe as the lectern guy or Via Getty.
Yeah, Via Getty.
Yeah. Because leftists are so stupid. And apparently they've never seen a published
I guess not.
newspaper before, because you give credit to the Getty News Service for these photos, and we got this via Getty. But they assumed that was this guy's name. Via Getty stole Nancy Pelosi's lectern or lectern, or I don't know, he stole something of hers.
Yeah.
And he almost killed democracy in the process. So, Adam Johnson, the man who grabbed Pelosi's podium during the January 6th riot and was sentenced to prison for that, joins us today. Adam?
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
That's great. When you look back in retrospect from that fateful day 3 years ago, do you wish you'd done things differently, like, I don't know, not showed up there? Or was it worth it?
I don't know. There's a lot to unpack there. I think it's important that we preserve our right to protest, to gather, to speak. I think that's still important.
Amen.
I definitely don't think
Yep.
people should gather together in D.C. ever again if you are against the regime.
Yeah.
But if I would do it again, I think I'm far away from it now, and I have enough things that are happening now that I would say yes, I would.
Yeah.
Because the good that I can make from what happened is making a real difference in people's lives.
Tell us about your sentence. What all were you sentenced with?
So,
First of all,
initially,
what
I
did they
was-
charge you with? Did they charge you with carrying a lectern around and being photographed with it?
Because we know you can't do that.
They charged me felony theft for picking up the lectern, moving it 20 feet, and leaving it.
Oh, my
They
God.
charged me with a misdemeanor entering and remaining in a restricted building, and also a misdemeanor violent entry.
And there
Okay,
he
wait.
is. There he
Wait,
is
wait,
with his
wait.
ill-gotten booty right there.
You-
Look at that.
You didn't
Violent
take that with you?
It didn't leave
No.
the building, right? Just to be clear.
No, I moved.
Yeah.
It was sitting out in the open. It wasn't in someone's office. I didn't break any
Oh.
doors down. It was just sitting out in a corner. I picked it up, moved it 20 yards, took a photo, gave
Yeah.
a short speech, and left.
There's a photo.
Oh, my gosh.
That's
I
incredible.
don't know
isn't
that
it?
I knew that. Because they made such
of
a
people
big
don't.
deal
Yeah. Oh, my
about
gosh.
when they
Yeah.
got return of the lectern, and they showed that lady dragging it with the squeaky wheels across the foyer of the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they made and the lectern was returning. I thought for sure you had taken it.
Well, what's ridiculous is they actually had the lectern found the next morning. Someone else had moved it. They had wheeled it out, and even though they had the lectern, they still charged me with theft the next day,
Oh, my God.
even though they know they had it.
Wow.
And you moved it. So, I mean, let's not forget that.
How did
I did.
they find you, Adam?
I got doxxed online within an hour. When I left the building, I was
My
getting
gosh.
recognized on the street. hmm
You got to be kidding me. People were reckoning, hey, you're the lectern guy. That's Via Getty.
That's Via
right there.
Getty.
Via Getty.
It happened very, very quick. We actually had to have our family moved because there were so many threats online saying they were going to go to my house and, murder my wife, rape my children.
Oh,
So
Wow.
we had to have friends show up, and I have very good friends that showed up and they got them out of there.
That's good. I mean, it's bad, but it's good.
This country.
stunning. It is stunning. So tell us about the day. Walk us through your activities. Did you attend the Trump speech first and then go down to the Capitol?
I did. We flew in a day early. Never been to a rally before in my life. Didn't vote for Trump in 16.
Oh,
Voted
wow.
for him in 20.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like war, and that's kind of the thing that sold me on. Okay, I'm going to vote for the guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So, went to my first rally. Never actually been to a protest in my life, and I was down there, kind of listening to speeches tacitly, and I went over to the World War II memorial. And have you been there? I assume you've been there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you see the gold stars that are spread out
Yes.
across. It's like 440 of them, and each one represents thousands upon thousands of lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this, and I have 5 sons, and we're looking at so many incursions happening, so much all over the place. I don't want to see them go to war.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So,
No kidding.
Yeah.
and it kind of just reaffirmed kind of my beliefs and what I wanted to see happen. So,
Mm-hmm.
walk back over to the rally. Trump's finally on. He's, gives his speech. He says his narrative, talking points, and he says we're going to march down to the Capitol peacefully, and we're going to protest and let our voices be heard. And at that point, I didn't have any other plans. So as everyone started walking over, I just followed them.
Wow. So then things got out of control. Were you swept up in the excitement? Obviously, you didn't. This was not premeditated. You didn't think I'm going to go down there and storm the Capitol, right? You weren't part of the really well organized insurrection that took place that day, right? You weren't emailing back and forth. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we do it. This is how we're going to finally destroy America. None of that happened, right? Did you just get caught up in the moment, and that's why you went inside?
Well, when I got there, people were already standing in front of the police. Everyone was kind of just standing around. They had already, reached the perimeter. And there was a point where a flashbang came out, landed about 10, 15 feet from my feet, went off, and it pushed half of the crowd that I was sitting with into the police line. And at that point, there was pushing, shoving, tear gas, all sorts of stuff. And when I saw that, it's not my thing, not what I'm here to do.
That's why you're there.
So, yeah.
Is
so
to protest that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. So I left the group that was engaged in those things. I've been very vocal about that. If you hit a cop, sorry, don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
I left there, walked around a little bit, and I noticed people were walking inside. So I followed some people inside through open doors.
You bastard.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, we almost didn't have a country
Thank
there
you.
for a minute. So did you see any instances of people attacking police officers?
I did. There was
You did.
shoving. There was shoving. There was pushing. I did
Yeah.
see these things, and I'm very vocal about that. I'm not trying to recreate a narrative. I just want the truth of the narrative to come out. That there were some people that were acting stupid, and 95% of us were just there peacefully protesting.
Yeah. Okay. So afterwards, people are recognizing you already. How long did it take for the authorities to come knocking at your door?
2 days, and the authorities did not actually come to my house. We hired attorneys before I even left DC because we saw what they were saying about me online and everywhere else, and we just knew we had to get ahead of it. So by
Right.
Friday, they brought the charges. I spent 4 days in isolation and saw a judge on Monday.
Wow. And then your sentence was what? Tell us what all that they sentenced you with.
Well, initially they gave me an ankle monitor. They gave me a curfew. They told me I couldn't leave the Middle District of Florida, which is like a handful of counties. This lasted for almost a year before I got a plea deal where they dropped the felony and the misdemeanor of violent entry because apparently walking through open doors is not violent entry and moving something 20 yards is not theft.
Theft, right.
So in the plea deal, they said, just accept this. You'll have a misdemeanor, get your rights back. Happy to have them. They gave me 75 days in 75 days total sentence in federal prison. They gave me a $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service,
Jeez.
and a year of supervised release.
And you'll be happy about it. You hear me? You'll be happy about it.
I understand that 17 of those
Not being happy about it.
17
no
of those
kidding.
days happened in solitary confinement. You were alone for 17 days.
Yes. So when you initially show up to prison, if you're unvaccinated, they keep you in isolation 5 days is what happens. And then every time someone new comes into the unit, they reset the time.
Wow.
Oh my gosh!
So it was 17 days before they released all of us into.
I didn't realize that you were still, walking this planet when you're not vaccinated. So first of all, you go into the Capitol building, you pick up a lectern,
you move it,
and now we find out that you're one of those heinous vaccine deniers. I mean,
so why did you pick that prison? You should have picked a better prison.
I didn't really have a say in it. I will say, though, that they were polite enough to get me close enough to where my family lived, or if they wanted to visit me, they could.
Yeah, so you were in Florida?
I was in Florida.
Yeah, okay.
It's Pullman Federal Correctional.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't actually end up having my family visiting me because when I got there, these people have been there for years for nonviolent crimes. They hadn't been able to see their families because of COVID policy. And I was there for such a short amount of time. The people hadn't seen their kids for 2 years. I just told them, you can take my visitation spot.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That was
pretty
nice.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peekapool on Twitter here says that it sounds like you should have been charged maybe with nothing more than redecorating without a license. My goodness, I'm glad the feds didn't think of that one because that probably is a crime in some places. We actually have video of the lectern being returned. Can we see that?
Yeah.
Look at that. There it is. Oh my goodness.
This was the strangest thing. That's why I remember it. It was just so weird.
So it never was removed from the building.
But she just moved it from another place.
Right.
That's
Hey,
unbelievable.
I want to take a moment, if we could, here, Adam. You're doing an online charity auction, right, or something? What do you got going on with a lectern that you designed? Is that right?
So I'm a carpenter by trade, and what I've done is I've built these tiny little lecterns. They mean nothing. They cost like $10 to build.
Cool.
And what I do is I auction them off, and I take all of the money and I send them to J6 families who have kids. There's criteria that I kind of set up for it. You can't be a violent offender. There's you couldn't have hit a cop, things like this, broken things, But the idea is that these kids did nothing wrong, and they still need to eat. And we've raised a few $1,000s since December just selling these things off.
That's fantastic.
We raised some money for kids for Christmas.
That's really awesome.
These kids need to know that we're still there for them.
Yeah.
Because they are the next generation that will be voting for conservative values. So if we can't show them that we're there for them when the country isn't, then we've already lost them.
Yeah.
How many
just retweeted
kids
that
are
link,
there?
by the way.
How many kids are there? I mean, how many are we talking about?
The good Lord, so many. Well, I had five. I have 5 sons. And then we couldn't actually raise any money. It was stipulated in my plea deal. So we had to raise the $100,000 ourselves for our attorneys. The current one is for Rachel Powell. She has 8 children. She was just sentenced to prison for 5 years. 5 years.
What did she do?
Yeah, what did she do? Thank you.
She broke a small window, very small window. This thing is probably worth, I don't know, $200-300, and they gave her 5 years for that. 8 kids. This is not something that happens.
Is incredible.
We just retweeted the link that you posted this morning on Twitter, Pat Unleashed, if you'd like to see the eBay link. Is that right? Is that what it links to, or give?
It's eBay.
Yeah, and so that money will go toward however much is raised from that. So check that out if you're on Twitter.
Wow.
It's been, again, it's stable. I can't handle any of the money, so a good friend of mine is actually taking this and then giving it to Give Send Go.
Wow.
I thought you weren't providing money to the violent offenders.
Thank you.
She broke a window. I
did. I did in this single instance. I did make
an exception.
I'm very empathetic to people who have a lot of children.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not just the majority of people were males who were arrested for this, and they were the breadwinners in their families. And it's not just them who have lost their jobs and lost their freedoms. It's also the spouse who maybe had a job. They've lost their jobs as well. People won't associate with them. So who's feeding these kids then?
Right. Oh,
incredible.
And so that kind of leads me to a question. Time has passed, 3 years now. When you yourself, you're out on the street or what have you, are people recognizing you, noticing you, and saying, "Hey, you're the lectern guy"? And if they are, is it more positive or is it more negative? What's going on there?
Well, I will tell you, I get one of 2 reactions. It is either, "Hey, I like that guy," or "Hey, you should still be in prison." I'm at SHOT Show right now out in Vegas, and I get recognized all the time walking through. People want to take pictures. There's it's typically people want me to hold them like the lectern and have a photo taken. So there's a lot of that.
You ought to charge for that, my friend.
The majority of people are very positive. They're very kind. They think that what's happening is awful. I was at my local Beef O'Brady's having lunch with my kids. This is probably 2-3 weeks ago, and a woman recognized me, and she was not a fan. I asked her, hey, I'm having, lunch with my kids, so if you could just, politely move on, that'd be great.
Sure.
She refused to. So I put her on the internet. I made her famous. We got like 2 million views on it.
Wow.
And I'm with my kids. I'm with my kids,
Right. Yep.
And I'm willing to talk to anyone about this, share what happened. And if you don't like me, you don't have to like me. That's fine. I'm not asking for that. But what I am asking you to do is to look at what happened to all of us and explain to me how that is justice.
Right.
How we have seen the DOJ overstep bounds and over-sentence and be weaponized against people who showed up to exercise their First Amendment rights.
I mean, that's the thing. We're in a country now that lets actual criminals off scot-free. Hell, the First Family, look at them as a prime example. But everyday Americans, such as yourself, who wandered into the Capitol, picked up a lectern, just walked, paraded, and milled. It is like what we are experiencing as a nation with the heavy-handedness of this government is unspeakable. We are. How do you feel about the country itself after you've been through what you've been through, Adam?
I mean, I still love her. I still think we are the greatest country on the planet. It's sad to see what's going on. It really, really is. And it's really sad to see people excited about how we're being treated, And I'm not saying that the things that happened, we shouldn't have had a charge brought. I was in a building. I was at a protest. I did trespass on public property. Sure. Walking through open doors. I mean, yeah. I will give you that. Fine. It is the sentencing. It is the vitriol that has happened. And I remember when, who was the congressman that pulled the fire alarm? Good Lord, what was his name? This is a couple.
Jamal Bowen.
Bowen.
Bowman, yeah.
Bowman.
So everyone's asking for him to be charged with insurrection because he stopped an official proceeding, right? He should have had a felony.
Right.
I was one of the ones that said, no, absolutely not. And maybe you're just being hyperbolic. Maybe you're trying to make a point. But if you normalize that type of behavior, then they can do it to anyone. And I'm asking just for us to step back and say, let's return to actual justice.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's great. We're talking to Adam Johnson, the man who grabbed Nancy Pelosi's podium. Did not go into Nancy Pelosi's office, though, right? I didn't know that until you just told us that this morning. I didn't know that.
I thought Nancy had the podium, tucked away in her little closet.
And you went specifically searching for her office, and you thought it'd be cool to take her podium. But it was out there in the, was it in the lobby there? That area?
It was just past the rotunda. It was under some stairs.
Yeah. Because they wheel it out when Nancy, stumbles out to do whatever press conference she has to do.
After a hard night of drinking.
I never been to the Capitol. I actually got lost after this photo, and I found a cop and asked for directions how to leave. And he was super polite. He's like, just, go down the hallway, take a right. We're exiting people out the east side of the building.
Amazing.
Were you surprised, or did you know that it was trespassing to go inside the Capitol building? Because, frankly, I think that's our house.
Is.
We're the ones who pay for that. You're our servants. We're not yours. So if I want to go into the Capitol building, I should be able to. Does it surprise you that that's a crime?
It is, and I've gone back and forth with this. I actually revisited the Capitol probably 6-7 months ago.
Well, everyone always returns to the scene of the crime.
I just miss my lectern,
And so you went back.
I didn't go through the doors you're supposed to go through. So if you want to say it's trespassing, right? And it's,
Jeez.
It's semantics, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But if again, it's the same thing. I don't want to normalize behavior as people entering the building any which way they want, any door they want. There should be a door you go through. There should be a place you check in, because it is still, whether I like the people who are in that building or not, they're still people. Yeah. And their safety does matter because we are a nation. We have to have laws, so on and so forth. So did I know it was trespassing at the time? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
did I find out afterwards? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think a trespass offense would maybe get a $50 fine. But
typically, yes.
But what you went through is ridiculous, and others have gotten far stiffer penalties.
Yes.
Did you see anybody deserving of a 20-year sentence?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And even when it comes to property damage and destruction, right?
Mm-hmm.
I read a case, this was probably 3-4 weeks ago. Another guy broke in a window, and the Capitol architect said the window was worth something like $70,000.
Oh my gosh!
$70,000 for a window. So they're inflating these things to make it sound like the damages were worse than they were. But I can tell you, when I was inside the building, people were not damaging things.
Right.
It was maybe some papers on the ground, maybe some scuff stains, maybe that like waxed the floor, dust something here or there. But we're not talking about hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage. This is ridiculous.
Right. No, and we've seen pictures of the protesters walking orderly between the velvet ropes. I mean, whoa, look at that insurrection. I got a question for you, Adam. May I ask, what motivated you to say, you know what, I'm headed from Florida to D.C. on January 6th. I'm going to be a part of this. Can I ask what your motivation for being there was in the first place?
A handful of things. So, as I said before, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I had questions about, and hesitations about a reality TV star running the country.
Sure.
Maybe you can find
Many
a better
did.
candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Many did. And then, throughout the next couple of years, he started doing a handful of things that I really liked. Gas was cheaper. Grocery was cheap.
Yep.
Housing market was doing well. Same talking points.
Yep.
War. We were ending wars and not engaging in new ones. Then COVID hit. There were a lot of lies about that. So many lies about that. From origin to who was a part of it and who gave the green light to it. And I saw what they were willing to do. And I saw the amount of people who were willing just to, lick boot and take marching orders. I mean, these people were following arrows in grocery stores.
Yep.
Like that's how far these people will take it. They will do what they're told.
Mm-hmm.
I then see some, I guess, questionable practices during the election. I've never said definitively whether I think the election was, outright stolen or machines were, switching votes. I don't know. I wasn't there. What I can tell you is that there is at least some questionable things that happened that have never happened before, taking weeks to count votes, boarding up windows, having, ballots dragged out from underneath tablecloths after you kick everyone out who's supposed to be observing them and counting for hours. These are things that at minimum should be addressed and should be looked into.
Yeah. No, I understand completely.
Amen.
I completely agree with you. So here's my follow-up to that, because I think we're of the same mind on the 2020 election. So if the same shenanigans happen again and cost Donald Trump a victory, would you be willing to go and protest? I'm not saying in the Capitol. I just mean go to D.C., period. When they go to certify the vote and say the same thing, God forbid, happens again, the same scenario. How are your thoughts on protesting now as an American?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on a lot of things. I definitely will not go to DC again. Hardcore insurrections.
And that's what this regime wants. Am I right?
Sure feels that way.
It is.
Yeah.
They
It
got what they
absolutely
wanted.
is.
Because I wouldn't go back
I think
either.
there are a lot of false flag events that happen. We've seen with the Whitmer case, the coup to kidnap a governor has all fallen apart. We've seen the pipe bomb.
Yep.
That they've had years to find this guy.
Right.
They knew who I was in 2 days and had me in cuffs.
Incredible.
Isn't that something? And you weren't even planting a bomb. You were photo opping with a lectern. It's how. Do you have any trouble with air travel now? Is that something that haunts you?
I mean, I do get special engagements when I walk through. It's always a pat down. It's always eye contact. I know, what is it, Operation Quiet Skies or something?
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
I have agents flying with me.
Yeah.
I actually had one pointed out by one of the stewardesses. They thanked them for their work and they were not happy about being pointed out. But I
Wow.
That's
honestly,
awesome, though.
Yeah.
I try to fly first class as often as possible. I like to pay it forward because these guys are working hard.
Yeah.
I get to work right up there with me.
That's great. This event has been spun so hard by the media and the Biden administration. What is the most frustrating thing you continue to hear about January 6th?
I think it's the hyper focus on the violence
Yeah.
when it is such a small part of what happened that day.
Yeah.
And I've said some controversial things that people don't agree with. If we look back at the BLM riots, right, and I try to tell people to look at it from 10,000 feet. 95% of the people who showed up to the protests in the morning were nonviolent. These people did not engage in riots. Afterwards, some people did some stupid things. They did burn cities to the ground. They did do horrible things, lots of damage, over 30 people murdered. I can talk about all of those things, but I can also say that does not mean that everyone who showed up to a protest with thing they believed in should not have been allowed to.
Right.
If we are trying to move their rights from one group from protesting, right? Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. I don't agree with it. I don't like the guy, but he has a right to do it. And we can say we're not happy about it, but stopping people from protesting, telling them you're not allowed to gather, that is dangerous territory. So I try to tell people, frustrations January 6th, we need to be talking about the people who are not violent.
Yeah.
Because those are the people who are being prosecuted, persecuted, and punished for exercising their First Amendment rights.
How has this affected your life since? Has it had any effect on, what you do for a living, or where you can go, or how you conduct yourself?
Yeah. You can't even eat.
It's the first little bit was actually really hard. We didn't know if we could even go outside because of what we were reading online. I remember when we went to
Was your family terrified?
we were.
Yeah.
We were actually
Yeah.
they took all my firearms and we're getting death threats. I have a stack of letters from people saying they want to rape my kids.
Oh,
And I have no way to defend them. I have nothing.
Right.
I can't actually leave my house because I have to report where I'm moving to and I'll get doxxed again. There's nothing I could do for 2.5 years. And I don't want to be in that spot again, so I'm hesitant to do things like show up to protests.
Yeah,
right.
But
I bet.
it's my life now. I was a stay-at-home dad for a handful of years. I ran a carpentry business, trying to just make ends meet, and now I feel like I almost have a responsibility to tell people about what happened. So I'm starting a 501c3. I'm trying to raise some money for some kids and just trying to raise some awareness that this is not going to get better if we don't fully invest in the next generation.
God, I'd be afraid that there's some Marxist in government right now that has access to your files and could inform people with evil intent as to where you live. Are you out of that window? Do you still have to inform the government when you move?
No, I'm completely done. I got my gun rights back. I carry everywhere I go.
Good.
So
Good.
yeah, don't approach me with my kids.
I love it. Oh man.
It's hard to believe this happened in the United States of America.
Yep.
And what's amazing is that your attitude is so good, even after all of this. So hats off to you. Sounds like you're a super reasonable human being who just got caught up in a moment and went in the wrong door of the Capitol building. How dare you do that? But fortunately, you paid your price.
You failed to mention he also moved the lectern.
Right, that's right.
Thank you.
I almost
gonna
forgot
say,
about
please
moving
make
the
sure
lectern
no, that's
20
the
feet.
gateway crime to.
Yeah.
Wait, hey, hold on. Well, here's the most important question you're going to be asked today, for sure, at least. Sarah B. asks on Twitter, will someone please ask Adam what kind of shampoo he uses? Dude could do a hair commercial. All right, what do you use, bro?
So Big Shampoo has been lying to you for a long time. It's not about the shampoo and conditioner. It's about the heat protectant you put in afterwards. It's the last thing you put in. So I use actually.
awesome.
Wow.
It's like Dove. It's like $4. It's a 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner.
Okay.
But yeah, get a good heat protectant. Paul Mitchell's what I use.
Paul
Yes,
Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell's heat
Fantastic.
protector, yes.
Well, we got more
I
than
love
we
Paul.
bargained for right there.
Love Paul. I'm a fan.
Love you, man.
Adam, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I'm sorry what you had to go through for nothing.
No kidding.
For literally not doing anything wrong. I mean, picking up a lectern, I'm having a hard time justifying that as a crime.
For sure.
That deserves a prison stay. But thankfully, you made it through that, and sounds like you're doing some great things. How do people help you with your outreach to the kids of the victims? Where do you go to
now,
buy the lectern, for instance?
So I'm putting up one at a time. I'm working on starting a 501c3. There will be an online shop.
Okay.
I'm working with some people who are going to make some merchandise. And again, like every single dime that gets made off of anything will go directly to charity. So follow me on Twitter
Fantastic.
if you want to find out about that. My handle is @lecternleader. It's LECTEEERN leader.
Okay.
Awesome.
Adam, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
He's got a better attitude about it than I would.
Wow.
That's for sure. All right, more Pat Gray Unleashed coming up. We're going to speak with another victim of January 6th, Owen Shroyer. Next.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Today, Free Think Friday. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Talking about January 6th. The day democracy almost died. The day we nearly lost America. As Joe Biden put it the other day so poignantly, so powerfully.
Did he?
He did. Yeah, he did. We just spoke with Adam Johnson, the man who moved Nancy Pelosi's lectern 20 feet.
It's incredible. I thought that he took it.
Yeah.
I thought,
no, he did something far worse.
I know.
He moved it across the area. Look at that. And there's the proof. I mean, there's no getting around it. You can say alleged criminal, but there's no alleged about it. He's a proven criminal. And we have another one joining us right now, Owen Shroyer, who was charged with a crime despite having neither entered the Capitol building nor was he accused of committing violence or destruction on Capitol grounds. But
what did he do?
What did he do? That's the thing. Did you step on the grass? Did you squish blades of grass?
I bet.
Did you violate the perimeter?
Yeah, he breached the fence line.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out in a minute. But prosecutors charged him because he had previously signed a deferred prosecution agreement after he interrupted a congressional hearing in 2019. Can't do that.
Oh.
You can't do that. And once you interfere with the gods, you deserve any punishment.
I'm interested to see what they actually did for that as well.
So he interrupted a congressional hearing in 2019 and had agreed as part of that case not to utter, quote, loud, threatening,
I don't know,
or abusive language, or to engage in any disorderly or disruptive conduct at any place upon the United States Capitol grounds, unquote.
Oh.
So Owen Shroyer joins us now. Owen, welcome to The Blaze. Thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, glad to be here, and I'm glad that you bring up that prior case because there's actually a lot of misunderstandings about that.
Yeah.
The hearing that I disrupted was the Trump impeachment hoax, and so I proudly disrupted that and called it out for what it was.
Okay.
And most times in instances like this, David Hogg has done it, others have done it, Laura Loomer has done it. Most instances, in fact, every instance that me and my lawyers could find, they never get charged. They never face jail time. They get detained for a moment and escorted out of the building and then told to go on their merry way.
Yeah.
This happens all the time. Code Pink, climate change protesters.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a regular occurrence. But for some reason, they decided to charge and detain me. I believe that order came directly from the top of the Democrat Party. In fact, the police were about to release me that day, and then somebody came on their speaker and said, no, you're going to charge him and arrest him. So the political persecution really began then.
Incredible.
But I'm actually curious because you read that quote from my deferred prosecution. Where did you actually get that quote?
Chris, where'd that quote come from?
No, I printed that story up. Let's see here. Hang on a second.
Media.
I'll tell you. NBC News is our source for that.
So that's amazing. So let me tell you, they leave something very key out. And I noticed this. They always want to leave this out. There's actually, that sentence is not finished where that quotation ends.
Mm-hmm.
The sentence actually finishes with intent to disrupt Congress. That's the actual quote from the legal document.
So the move, right? I got you. Not
with
to just
intent.
Mm-hmm.
So for people to argue, and this is what the media loves to argue, was that I broke my deferred prosecution. I had no intent to disrupt Congress that day. How could you even prove that I did?
Yeah, you can't. You can't prove intent.
And if anything, we are the ones that wanted the investigation to go down. The whole purpose of that day
was for the investigation.
Right.
For the investigation to go down before the certification. So we were there to support that. Why would I want to disrupt that? And by the way, by the time I got anywhere near the Capitol building, the hearing or the investigation or the certification had already been stopped. The whole thing had already been stopped. So there would have been no way for me to even possibly disrupt that.
Right.
So the media loves to leave that part out. But, there's an overarching question. That was a prior case dealing with an entirely different incident. Why is the FBI getting involved and indicting me over something that they have nothing to do with?
Mm-hmm.
Why would 21 of the 31 pages in their indictment have something to do, not even involving January 6th? If I did violate my deferred prosecution agreement, which I didn't, we were prepared to argue in front of the court that I didn't, but that was for that judge to decide. That was an ongoing case. So this isn't for the FBI to decide whether I broke that deferred agreement or not.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to make that decision and decide to charge me was completely unheard of.
I mean, the more you dig into this,
So many cases that we hear from the day democracy almost died are unheard of.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the deal.
It's a travesty. It's an absolute
is.
American travesty.
So where were you breached the fence line after Trump's speech? You went over there, or did it begin at Trump's speech in D.C.?
So my crew arrived at the Capitol probably about an hour or so, just over an hour after it was actually breached. That's the Capitol, not the ground. And the evidence in their sentencing memo, the evidence that they show that I breached the Capitol grounds, I'm not even kidding you. It's actually quite comical. There's a sign on the ground. And by the way, they got this evidence from me.
I was going to say I wanted to hear about the footage. That if your crew was there, you've got to have hours of footage from this, correct?
Not only the crew that we had that's shooting the footage for the media, my bodyguards wear a body cam. So this was actually footage from my bodyguard's body cam, and the evidence that they got and used against me was from that. It's a sign on the ground. I don't even know what the sign says. You can't even really read it. It's a crumpled up sign on the ground. Can you imagine what a paper sign looks like after thousands of people dash over it with muddy shoes? That was their evidence that I crossed over ground.
Oh my gosh.
I can imagine you disregarding it right now, I'll tell you that.
And then you never went inside. So after the fact, did you think this was resolved, you're done, and then they got a hold of you somehow? How did they find you?
I didn't think anything of it. I didn't believe that I had broken any laws that day. I didn't believe, and still would argue, that I did not break my deferred prosecution. Of course, we never got the chance to argue that in court. So no, I never thought anything of it that day, quite frankly. Now, what had happened was that entire case was supposed to be over and done with. Mm-hmm. But because of COVID, we could not get into a courtroom, and we could not get the case closed. I had done my community service. I had completed my probation, everything, but we just could not get the case closed years later because COVID had shut the courts down and everything was backed up. So my lawyer then starts reaching out to the federal government again in 2021, or I guess the court system at that time. And he's saying, hey, we are trying to get this case closed. We're trying to get in front of a judge. We've been trying to do this since 2020.
We can't do that. Sorry, we've got this other case going on now. So.
And then exactly, yeah. and then they kind of hit us with now we're being told we can't close this case because there's other investigations into you. And so that's when we kind of got a clue that something was coming. But you left out also an important detail, and you know what my real egregious crime that day was, though? Do you know what my truly egregious crime was from that day?
I do not.
Other than being an American and distraught with the election process, no.
Well, I dared to chant USA.
Oh, you bastard! Yeah. You bastard!
I know. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even bolder, actually, if you can believe it. I chanted 1776.
No. Oh man. So the only crime you didn't commit that day was wearing a tri-cornered hat.
Yeah. You're lucky you're not conducting this interview from prison, my friend.
Do you know where I can get one?
No. No, I don't. I want the FBI to understand I don't know where you buy those hideous hats. So, Owen, you spent, 2 months in jail?
Yeah, the federal prosecutors wanted 120 days. The judge ended up giving me 60 days. I got released early, which was a blessing, obviously. And then I spent the majority of the time in there in solitary confinement and the special housing unit, which is basically the prison inside the prison. So I went to prison for my speech, and then I went into the prison inside the prison for my speech.
Incredible.
Wow.
I mean, this thing just is astounding to me. I understand that you've got some information, maybe an update for us on something we're hearing about a lot this week, and that's the pipe bombs that were planted outside the RNC and DNC buildings.
The alleged pipe bombs.
Yeah, this is truly. You ask yourself this: the January 6th committee obsessed with January 6th.
Yeah.
The mainstream media obsessed with January 6th. The Democrat Party obsessed with January 6th. And they're not talking about the pipe bomb.
Right.
It would have been the most egregious offense from January 6th. We're talking about an explosive device. We're talking about a bomb. We're not talking about a grandma with a flag.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a guy moving a lectern.
Right.
We're not talking about a guy chanting 1776. We're talking about an actual explosive device outside the DNC where the vice president was, which they lied to us about, but now we know that that was the case. And none of them want to talk about it. I think that tells the story more than anything.
No
but
kidding.
I actually talked to a former FBI agent about this earlier this week just to kind of get his idea of how these investigations work and what he thinks is going on. And basically, there's so many anomalies that lead up to this that the only reasonable conclusion that I believe can be reached is that somebody had prior knowledge. This was meant to be a distractionary device. In other words, whatever the purpose or whatever the protagonist of that pipe bomb was, it was working in the interest of the Democrat Party, and it was working in the interest of the deep state. Otherwise, why would they not want to be talking about it? And why would there be so many questions, especially after we got that footage where it took them 5 minutes to secure the area? Okay?
Yeah.
5 minutes for Secret Service and Metro Police to secure the area after they received the pipe bomb. And their excuse was they had to finish eating a sandwich. That's not a joke. I know that's hilarious.
No, I know.
Excuse. And let me ask you this, Pat.
On behalf of people that are fans of eating sandwiches, I can understand that.
Well, I'd like to know what type of sandwich it was.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But let me ask you guys a question. If you just happen to walk down the street, let's say in front of a government building in times of high tension, if you walk down the street and you see a device that you believe is a bomb, and you're convicted enough that that's a dangerous explosive device that you go report it to Secret Service and police, do you then walk right back in
right
front
up
of
to
it?
right up to it again? Yeah. I know. We were looking at that footage, and it's unbelievable to me.
What I do is walk up with my cell phone, get really close to it, and take a close-up photo of that pipe bomb with my cell phone. I think that's what any of us would do, right? Because we're just reckless like that. We love a good risk. I mean, they did nothing to protect themselves, and not only that, but there was a huge group of children who happened to walk by right by this pipe bomb. They did nothing to deter them. They did nothing to move them around.
And to finish their lunch.
Yeah, I know. So they didn't mind. It might have blown up in the face of these kids, and they would have done nothing. They absolutely knew there was no threat there. They absolutely knew it. What do you think is, I mean, certainly you've drawn some conclusions about what the end game of all of this was. What are your thoughts, Owen, about what has transpired since then? What is the point of all of this?
I think there's two things that for me, I'm pretty confident in reporting. And one being, this would be the lesser of them, that the Democrats did not want the investigation ahead of the certification. They did not want the election of Joe Biden to be called into question. They did not want the issue of mail-in ballots to be reviewed. They did not want the issues that all these different laws were illegally made in order to pass the mail-in ballots and everything else during COVID, all the illegalities that led to the election of Joe Biden and 81 million votes or 81 trillion votes. It might as well be. They're both numbers entirely fictional. So that's the lesser of the two evils. But I think the truly evil intent from whatever all was going on that day, whatever all their plans were, the stand down of the National Guard, the stand down of the Capitol Police, people being waved into the building, individuals encouraging people to go into the building, everything. I truly do believe that this was the Democrats' Reichstag moment. I actually, in fact, believe that the Democrats wanted to see the Capitol on fire that day. Now they didn't get ultimately what they wanted because conservatives and Trump supporters actually aren't violent people. I mean, you watch the footage, it's people walking through the velvet ropes. I mean, even during a quote unquote riot, they're still obeying these colors of law, if you will, and trying to respect the Capitol grounds, at least to an extent, the vast majority of them, and respecting law enforcement, and all this was seen. So I really believe they wanted to have a massive, truly a riot. They wanted to have the images of the Capitol on fire, violence and everything else. And that was going to be their main charge, to basically assert a one-party dominance and to claim that their political opposition were terrorists. Now, we've pretty much seen that since January 6th. I mean, it might not be to the extent that I think they wanted it, but they have incarcerated journalists like myself. They've incarcerated nonviolent people, grandmas, doctors, teachers.
People who weren't even there. People who were in Baltimore at the time have received 20-plus year sentences.
Yes. Do you still have all your footage, or did you have to release that to the FBI, and have you had it returned? Do you know? Do you still? What's up with all the footage?
They have a copy. It's like it's a 2 terabyte hard drive. We have our own copies.
Okay.
They have their own copies. So it's all the footage is out there. And we turned it over. I mean, I didn't have to turn it over. I didn't have to turn over all the data requests they made. I didn't have to turn over my 2 cell phones that they still have. I didn't have to turn any of that over. I was never subpoenaed. I voluntarily turned that over to prove my innocence and to prove my entire team's innocence.
Really quick, Owen, because we only have about 45 seconds. But would you say, what is the percentage of instigators from the government, from whether that's the FBI, the deep state, whatever? What is the percentage of them violating the Capitol building compared to the Trump supporters that were there, if you had to guess?
Well, I would say, from my internal knowledge and intimate knowledge with my lawyers and others, there were at least 300 to 500, and that number has also been
federal agents,
public, yes, confidential informants and others, and that number has also been confirmed and made public by Clay Higgins, and he thinks there might actually have been more.
Owen, sorry for everything that happened to you. Looks like you're coming through it, though, just fine. Appreciate your joining us. Thanks a lot.
Good to be here. Thanks, guys.
More on trivia coming up next.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Upon the frozen tundra of the human mind, 2 teams go head-to-head.
Name any state west of the Mississippi River.
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
In a brutal battle between brainless boobs.
If you're standing at the door of your store, what direction does the sun set?
East.
And senseless buffoonery.
What year did the United States declare its independence from Great Britain?
1954.
1954?
Dullards versus dummies.
Name one branch of the U.S. government.
Russia.
Oh.
Dopes versus dodos.
Who is Kamala Harris?
I do not know.
Moron versus moron.
Ottawa is the capital of what country?
Kansas.
The capital of Kansas?
Yeah.
Oh.
In a monumental matchup of minuscule minds.
What is foliage?
A vitamin?
A vitamin?
This is Moron Trivia.
Good morning, American.
The playoffs are here. We're deep into them. We're up to the NFC and AFC championship games.
Yeah, baby.
And our commissioner of Moron Trivia, Jeff Fisher, is here to tell us how the game works.
Well, listen, we predict the outcome of an NFL game. Today's game, the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. That game, we predict the outcome by calling stores in their general areas of Detroit and San Francisco. And then when we contact employees, we ask them 4 questions each quarter, 4 quarters. City that answers the most questions correctly, we predict wins the game.
Now, what happens, Jeffy, if, for instance, somebody agrees to answer the 4 questions, but then hangs up because the questions are so difficult?
Well,
what would happen in that eventuality?
Well, besides being very sad,
very, very
sad.
Yeah.
As a commissioner,
is there a penalty?
They forfeit that quarter, and they get it's just a goose egg 0.
Ouch, that hurts.
No matter where they're at in the quarter, no matter what they've accomplished in the quarter,
it's
forfeit.
It's over
0
for them.
So we're 1-0 this year because last week we
had a tie. We had a 0-0 tie. We only got 2 contestants last week, one in each city, and nobody scored a point. So today's matchup is again who?
Detroit and San Francisco.
Okay, should be fun.
It should be a lot of fun.
If the Lions win, it will be their first Super Bowl ever.
And they've been around for
a long time.
Ever.
Certainly, they've been there for the whole Super Bowl era.
Yeah.
But I think their championship, they did win an NFL championship.
Back in the 40s or something, right?
They had 51, 49.
Somewhere. I don't remember the exact year that I saw it. It was a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yep. All right. We got a few, as we wait for our first contestant, we got some tweets here. Nuclear Barf tweets Adam Johnson, the insurrectionist's redecorator. From Freedom Unicorn 1, lectern guy was recognized because he's a ginger and then treated like a redheaded stepchild. The discrimination never ends.
Can I just point out that Pat, you asked Adam how this has affected his life since that day, January 6, 2021. And I noticed that Jeffy pointed out, you can't even eat. I mean, that was the first thing he went to was food related. Good point.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, let's let people eat.
Right. That's right.
I mean, please just.
Right.
I mean,
somebody interrupted him.
Thank you.
A leftist interrupted him and his family as they were trying to eat.
That's not cool.
Right.
That is not cool.
Stop
That's just not
it.
cool.
What are you accomplishing? Nothing.
Nothing. From Eckert and Tom, the J6 committee just proves that America is ruled by evil. Kenneth Parker, from now on, if someone needs moving, I'll tell them, sorry, can't help you overthrow the government. Can't do it. Giblets tweets, I'm surprised that there wasn't a restraining order forbidding Adam to be within 1,000 feet of a lectern. There should have been.
Right.
There should have been. There's consequences to your actions, right? And that should have been one of them. Carl Smith, hundreds of conservative protesters couldn't destroy America on January 6th. It only took Joe Biden, a senile fascist, to get that done.
Yep.
He's not done yet, sadly.
No, he's trying.
We're trying. I mean, I wish he was. I wish we would just, Joe, leave.
From
leave.
Renewable Goo, lectern guy got 75 days in prison, including 17 in isolation, $5,000 fine, 200 hours of community service. What will they do to Greg Abbott?
Oh, boy.
I know.
See nothing yet.
Keith's Endless Hat Supply. Keith, is or has your map been updated on states standing with Texas?
Oh, it has.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, we've been updating it this morning. We're up to 27 states that stand with Texas. You can see.
Wow.
Not that this would be important, but strategically speaking, you've got a coastline that stretches from Brownsville, Texas, past Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You've got a major waterway, the Mississippi River, almost gets you to Canada. And look at all these natural resources available as well. New Hampshire, you're going to have to figure this out.
And we do have contiguosity, though.
For the most part, yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got Alaska, too. That's an important addition.
Pretty darn good. All right. As we continue to await our first contestant in either, let's see, it's a home game for the Niners, right? So we're waiting for somebody in the Bay Area. And as we do, we got some Joe Biden clips from yesterday because He was at a brewery in Wisconsin, and he was at the peak of his game yesterday. Fantastic, this man.
Did he drink before? No. Never mind. Silly question.
No,
it's just Joe Biden. It's just Joe being Joe.
Joe
at the
being Joe.
Earth Rider Brewery in Superior, Wisconsin.
I see.
Okay. And here's one of the things that he had to say.
The beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refiner. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lake.
You're looking at me like I'm going to translate that? Hell, I don't even know that that's English. Have we confirmed that that's even our language?
The beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refiner. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lake.
Thanks for the Great Lake?
Thanks to the Great Lake. So they're using water from the Great Lake to brew the beer.
And that was the name of the brewery in there. Because I wouldn't have caught that until you had said the name of the brewery. Earth something?
Beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refiner. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lake.
Ooh,
Yeah, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lake.
He said thanks for the Great Lakes.
Yeah, so in other words...
thanks to Earth Rider.
Yeah, the brewery provided the Great Lakes for us.
Thanks for the Great Lake.
I never knew that. I would have said that. I would send them thank you at some point.
I mean, the brewery and where to brew it and the manager and thanks to the brewery.
What is that?
Great Lakes. What do you mean? What is that? It's clear as a bell. It's crystal clear what you just said.
Yeah.
One more time.
Beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refiner. Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lake.
Is it a horse? Is Earth Rider a horse?
Thanks for the Great Lake.
Thanks for the Great Lake. So we have the brewery. The brewery built the Great Lake?
I'm glad you got there.
Yeah.
That's the best Biden clip ever.
That's
peak.
Unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. Wow. There was something else he babbled as well.
Oh, yeah.
See if we can make heads or tails of this.
Look, we now have, before the recession, before the pandemic.
You got it?
Before the recession, then he realized, wait, did I just admit to a recession?
You got it.
Before the recession and the depression that I created, we also had the pandemic that I made worse.
Yeah.
And so
he did actually realize something mid-mumble.
My gosh.
Wow.
Play that again, too, because that's fun. There's some fun here.
We get look. We now have before the recession, before the pandemic.
Guy's on top of his game,
because
man.
they've never
He's
said
sharp as a
that
tack.
we were in a recession, whether under Trump or under him. They've always said, "No, we're good."
Are we sure that he wasn't actually
That's what I'm wondering.
drinking?
Did he have some of that?
Yeah, drinking.
Supposedly he doesn't drink.
Uh-huh.
That's what they say.
He's just
he
naturally
doesn't drink
bad
alcohol.
at speaking.
Well, and we know that to be a fact.
Yes, we do.
But did he imbibe a little bit, and that made his Alzheimer's worse? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, my gosh. That's incredible. It's stunning. It's stunning.
It is.
How bad? What must the rest of the world, how they must laugh at us and take glee at the fact that they've got this opportunity right now. The window is closing on them, though. So whatever you're going to take advantage of, this is the time to do it. I don't want them to, but my gosh, how do you not, as another world power, step in here and fill the void that America has left because of this guy?
Yes. Well, many of them are by coming across the southern border.
Yeah, they are. Yes. He talked about new jobs in Wisconsin, too. I bet this is coherent.
14 million new jobs since I became president. 169 new jobs in Wisconsin.
Wow, look at that.
169?
Yeah. Remember, North Carolina can boast their 440 jobs that he brought. Wisconsin only got 169.
So I would be a little, depressed.
Is that underwhelming? Because I think that's a pretty good percentage out of 14 million. It's probably like what? 0.000.
Not really a selling point to move to Wisconsin.
One more time on that. What a brag.
14 million new jobs since I became president.
Yeah, wow.
169 new jobs in Wisconsin.
I mean, if it's a number,
He can't get it right.
He signs off, man.
Cannot get it right.
I mean, surely he means, I don't know, 169,000?
I guess. Sure.
So before you play this next clip,
Which is probably a lie to begin with.
Oh,
He's
sure.
already,
Of
the
course
whole
it
thing is based
well,
on
the 14
a lie.
million's a lie.
Yeah.
But before you play this next clip, he's trying to talk about his predecessor because they refuse to say the name Donald Trump in this administration. I think you get canned. I think it's a fireable offense if you mention him by name.
That's very possible.
And so he sees in the teleprompter the word predecessor, but it comes out a little different.
Okay.
My professor, well, I won't get into my professor. But look, my predecessor, though.
Boy, that's terrible. He's...
Well, look, my predecessor.
Well, look,
professor.
he tries to make it out like,
Yeah.
I meant to say professor.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about my professor for a minute, but look, now I'm not going to.
Uh-huh.
But I do want to talk about my predecessor.
Come on, man.
It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. And all of the major publications right now are trying to say Trump has a big problem. Trump is
I know.
screwing up.
What are we
Trump
even talking
and these
about?
gaffes, Trump and his losing train of thought. And they never touch any of this stuff with Joe Biden. Oh, my gosh. That's embarrassing. One more time, just for fun. On the professor.
My professor,
Yeah.
well, I won't get into my professor.
No, let's do that.
Well, look, my predecessor, though.
But look, my predecessor.
Was Jill with him at the brewery?
I didn't see her this time because he's not because he flew in with the short stairs, so she's not in.
Okay.
Yeah. So short stairs, Jill's not there.
Yes.
No way.
Then it was creepy whisper time.
And thanks to the outstanding senators, Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin, Tammy's the one, and Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith from the state of Minnesota.
Hey.
Wait for it.
Klobuchar, yeah.
If I have all three of them on my side, I don't worry about anything.
Oh, gosh. Okay, now hold on a second.
He
Now,
can't get her name right, for one thing. And then the whisper thing must stop.
Okay.
Can somebody please put an end to the whispering
So
thing?
that was incredibly creepy.
Yeah.
He's talking about the three women, right?
Yeah.
Now, I thought that was as creepy as it got yesterday until this next clip, and I don't know who he's
Okay.
talking about. But pay attention to this pedophile at the mic.
Well,
I got to meet his twins and his wife, and no wonder he's here. I tell you what, they're going to keep him here.
what?
Who's he talking about?
What?
So whoever the guy was,
Okay.
all right, so
Yeah.
his
And
wife and his
the
twins
twins.
are there.
All right.
And play it again because he's basically saying,
His wife is digging on the
No,
guy?
I think that what he is saying is they look so good. That's why he's here. To keep people like me away from him because I'm a creep. What's this thing? That's what I got out of it.
All right, let's hear it again.
I got to meet his twins and his wife, and no wonder he's here.
What?
I tell you what, they're going to keep him here.
No wonder he's here.
No wonder he's here to
They're
keep
gonna
people.
keep him here.
Yeah, to keep people like me. That's what I got. I don't know, man. Dude is a freak, and not in a good way, Chris.
I mean, that's
Wow.
that's less creepy and more just him not
Idiotic?
knowing what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, none of us do. I don't know if he does, but those are some bad clips.
That was
Those
a
are some
bad day.
clips. Yeah,
So what
that's
is
a
the
bad
okay?
day.
So what's the play here if you're his handlers now?
Basement.
Because remember they went 3.5 weeks, no public appearances.
Yeah.
and now it's multiple. Now they literally took him out, took him to Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
going store to store. Look at him in public. They're just making excuses. I realize it's a campaign year, but they are forcing him into all of these situations.
and he can't do it.
Is it to make him look? Now have they given up on hiding him in the basement to let's just go for broke here, make him look as bad as we possibly can in public every day of the week now,
And so they can replace
so
him.
they can replace him. I don't know what's going
I
on
don't know.
here.
Maybe.
Weird, man.
I don't know. Wow. I do know it's 2024, and you got to start taking care of yourself and your liver now more than ever, because the latest data from the American Heart Association indicates that adults with fatty liver were 3.5 times more likely to have heart failure than those without. The American Liver Foundation says that 100 million Americans have fatty liver, so a lot of us are at risk. because we throw everything at our livers. Cholesterol and alcohol, toxins, Tylenol, statins, cigarettes. That's why so many of us have sluggish, fatty liver that makes us gain weight, lose energy. And for decades, your liver helped you with over 500 key functions every single day. So it's time to give your liver some help. Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement, contains 11 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. You can try it and receive a free bottle of nano-powered omega-3 to keep your heart healthy, too. Try Liver Health Formula today by going to getliverhelp.com/Pat and claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Pat.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
So if the commander-in-chief isn't babbling, bewildering BS, he's getting incredibly angry for no apparent reason, or somebody sets him off for daring to ask him something that's somewhat difficult for him to answer. Mm-hmm. This guy is so unstable and so old and crotchety and so bad in every conceivable way. Mm-hmm. I don't understand now at this point how, if you're a Democrat, you say, yeah, that's our guy, man. He's good.
I don't understand it.
Good.
Look, he's been that way for many years. His compatible Joe Biden of,
the bully. He's a bully.
Yes, and he has been for a long time. But as he's aged,
he's gotten worse.
Another layer there.
Gotten worse. Yeah. He's doing things in Wisconsin. He was at a brewery yesterday. He couldn't speak. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Except his dementia's getting worse, or the pills aren't working as well as they did.
It's the end of the week. He hasn't had time to, get the juice that he gets on the weekends, so it's not lasting as long.
All right.
And what's the hard hat image?
Okay, so he was at the UAW, the other day because he's a working man. He's Joe being Joe out there.
The UAW.
So he shows up
what a
there.
Great story.
And they're like, "Hey, let's get a picture, and you can put this hard hat on here," and he puts it on backwards.
Jeez.
What a tool. What a tool. Look at that. I mean, it's even got the inside strap of his forehead.
Yeah.
So,
good-looking guy.
The UAW. Mm-hmm. You know him, you love him. Do you? I was waiting for that, do you? Mm-hmm. Homeboy, the head of the UAW, said that most of the rank and file are going to vote for Trump.
Right.
But the administrative crowd at the UAW, we're going to go ahead and endorse Biden. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And to your point, Pat, do you want to play that montage here?
Where it shows him losing his temper a few times?
Yeah, angry, bitter Joe Biden, clip 5. Nice montage put together for you.
Ask the right questions. Oh, what a stupid son of a bitch.
Come on, man. That's like saying before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say? What? Go back and read what I said. Wait. Oh, you're getting nervous, man. That is an interesting reading in English. I assume you got in the journals because you like to write. I want to talk about
my gosh.
What the hell? What do you do all the time? So when did I say I was confident? I said what I said was. Let's get it straight.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect.
Well, that's not true. You're saying things you do not know what you're talking about. No one said that. Who said that?
Who
said that? I know you asked me. I have no response. It's another
incredible.
Right up your alley. Those are questions you always ask. You don't understand that. You're in your own business.
Wow.
Can I ask you a quick question on Israel before you drive away?
No, you can't. Not unless you get in front of the car as I step on it. She's going to ask an obnoxious question.
Don't screw around with me. Let's get it straight.
You didn't use a rape reference?
No, let me listen to me.
I'm listening. So don't poke that in my face, okay, buddy? I don't want you would ask that. You're a good man. You're a good man.
Thank you guys. This is all the time we
And that didn't even include look, fat, look.
Right, that's right.
Look, Fat, look. You want to go outside? He's challenged several people to fights outside.
Oh, yeah, the UAW guy from 2019.
UAW guy, for instance.
Yeah, that's right. Gosh.
I mean, there's a million times that he's lost it completely. And then they try to tell us that Donald Trump is unstable. This guy...
I ask again, how did he get 81 million?
Oh, how much time you got?
He didn't. He didn't. I think there was some typing error or something.
He did. That's
He claims he
Jeffy,
got the most of all time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a factual statement.
History of the world.
He got 81 million votes. Correct.
I know.
And look how beloved
How many
he
voters,
is.
though? How many voters?
Let's say he did get 81 million votes. Let's say he did. How many of those 81 million are proud of that vote and would place it again for the same guy?
We heard the Dingleberries in New Hampshire, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I heard one lady, I should have saved it, from a local news report, talking about how she believed in no wars and becoming unified with the world and still loving this country, and that's why she wanted Joe Biden. And I thought,
what?
It's the exact opposite. What are we talking about? I mean, do you see what's happening around the world?
Yeah, and you remember Woodrow Wilson, his re-election campaign. Well, you probably remember the ads back in the day. Woodrow Wilson, he kept us out of war,
that
right?
Guy.
Wasn't that
and about 5 minutes later?
5 minutes later,
yeah.
Second term. Yeah, so if he conjures up 81 million votes again this time, get ready for a switch to get flipped in 2025.
Well, this border thing might switch that.
Oh, before
might
2020.
turn that switch on.
Yeah, again, if you're just joining us, 27 states now siding with Texas in the border dispute down at
I can't believe
Shelby
that they're
Park.
going to continue to push and put the finger in the chest of Texas with this.
And so yesterday, when Beto O'Rourke said that Abbott's using the Texas Guard to defy a Supreme Court ruling, Mike Lee set him straight.
Yeah,
there's no
he's
ruling
not.
against Texas to defy. There was an order against DHS, not Texas. SCOTUS vacated that order. Texas can't defy an order that doesn't exist and never existed in the first place.
Gotta love Mike Lee. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
You know, we are, it's starting to sink in.
I know.
Football season's almost over now.
Of
course, college football's completely gone, which is my favorite thing. But the NFL's about to go away as well.
I'm so sad. I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I don't know what I'm going to do.
They still have football
No,
this weekend.
we have 2 games. I got to wait till Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, sorry. You know what you should do? Sleep until then.
I might. Because I don't know. I mean, I had such a great football
Set
season
your
this year.
alarm
We
for
had the
2
Friday
o'clock
night's
Sunday.
game. We had the Saturday. We started Saturday morning on into Saturday night, and sometimes into Sunday morning, and then Sunday you have the NFL. It's been I have to wait till Sunday afternoon for 2 games.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Pitchers and catchers start reporting February 14th. No, okay. Trying to get you into baseball. Hockey. It's happening right now.
Yeah, I do like hockey.
Yeah.
I do like hockey, but it can't. It's not
Edmonton
gonna
Oilers,
replace
14
football.
straight
It's not
wins,
gonna
third
replace
longest streak in
football.
NHL history.
Yeah, it's not going to
Watch
replace
that one.
football.
No, nothing can replace football.
Just
But
not.
football. And they're trying to push this.
I know. I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to.
What do they call it now? The Unified
UFL,
UFL. Yeah, it's not the USFL and it's not XFL.
No, UFL.
It's the UFL now because XFL
Both of
and
them are
USFL merged.
Correct.
And they still only have 8 teams, right? So I think there's 8 teams in the league.
8 or 10. Yeah.
And speaking of the end of football, it appears that if this thing continues, we're going to be still undefeated and more on trivia since we have no contestants.
Yeah, we have still. That's
San
right.
Francisco, Detroit.
Still smack dab in the middle
How's that
of
going, y'all?
trivia.
Yeah. Ooh.
This is why, again, for those who are lamenting the fact, and we do too, but this is why we didn't do it this year because it's just the world has changed so much with people answering phones at businesses or wherever.
Maybe next year
it's just too hard to do.
Throw us out there. Maybe we just do the Super Bowl next year.
Or maybe we just don't do
attempt.
any of it.
I know.
I don't know.
I do want to
Flag this audio.
revise. I do want to revise something that I reported on Wednesday on this very show, though.
All right. What do you got?
The NFL has revised their Chiefs Bills NFL playoff divisional round viewership numbers.
Uh-oh.
Because I said 50 million.
Come on, that's too much.
Well, they revised it. Apparently, I don't know. They recalibrated the Finortner, and the audience actually peaked at 56 million.
Oh, okay.
For that game. So
I knew it was going to go up. 56 million. You just don't see that number anymore
No, you
because the audience is so fragmented with so
Not
many
for the
different things
NFL,
to watch, but not when it comes to the NFL.
So
National
one out
Football
of
League
every
and
6
college.
Americans
and college
was watching the Bills-Chiefs game.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. It is. Tells you it's kind of a popular sport
It's
here.
kind of a popular thing.
And it's why soccer just doesn't get the foothold they want it to. They keep trying to
It
jam
will,
that
though.
down our
It will.
throats.
World Cup's
No, it
coming.
won't.
World Cup's
It
coming.
will not
World
ever
Cup's
take
coming.
hold. It won't. I mean, more than it was.
I don't know.
but-
I got an open border that says that the audience is moving
that's
in
true.
hourly.
That is true.
That's for sure.
Oh, my goodness. And by the way, I looked up the company because yesterday I mentioned maybe you should buy some stock in whoever's making that razor wire for Texas. I looked it up. Well, first of all, Greg Abbott, why are you contracting with a company in California, not publicly traded? Yes, I looked it up. And then the other half of the wire they're using down there is made in prison. It's like the modern equivalent of license plates. We're making those in Texas state prisons.
Good.
That's exactly right. Yes, it's where all of it should be made.
Okay, just a quick reminder. On Tuesday, I think this is solid now with Chip Roy, right? We got Chip Roy on Tuesday about 7:30 live.
Nope.
No? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Whoa.
Thursday.
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 All right, that works.
Thursday, 7:30.
Thursday,
Chip Roy.
7:30.
Probably busy
Yes.
on Tuesday. What's he doing?
Yes, the committee about the border and all that stuff. So
Okay.
he's busy.
All right. But we were, we've kind of labeled them the DC Freedom Squad. Just the 4 of them: Chip Roy, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, and Thomas Massey. And our membership guidelines are pretty strict.
Really?
To be in this club, you got to have 95% or better conservative score from FreedomWorks.
Lifetime.
Lifetime 95%. Now, very few people have that. In fact, we did a cursory check of the U.S. reps, so these are both in the House and the Senate.
Okay. I mean, do we have time to go through all these? Because there's so many.
So many.
Sure we can fit this in?
I don't know.
You might want to skip up a couple of names in the Senate because there's so many of them in the Senate.
Well, let's start with the Senate and see if we can get through it.
Okay.
Because it's going to be, we could carry it over into Monday.
Or
I
we
guess.
got overtime.
We got overtime and then Monday to deal with. So let me give you that list right now.
All right.
Obviously, we have Mike Lee.
Sure.
Then you've also got Rand Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thought for sure it was only going to be Mike
So, like
Lee.
I said, you got your Mike Lee.
Yeah, 99%.
And Rand
Paul.
Paul.
97.9%.
And that's it.
Okay, so we're done with the
Did
Senate.
we get through it?
No,
Wow.
no,
how'd
we just
do
got
it?
through Senate. I mean, that's. Do we have time for the House, though?
Mike Lee has a, is it 99%, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike Lee's percentage is 99%. Rand Paul is
97.9.
97.9, almost 98%. Okay. Now, there are a few guys with 100% rating lifetime, but they're freshman reps, so they've only had this first term. Aaron Bean, 100%. Connie Conway, also. And Mike Flood, Mayra Flores, and from Guam, James Moylan.
Doesn't even count.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It
Doesn't
does.
even count.
So who else is in the
So
House?
he's a delegate, not a representative.
Okay, Mr. Puerto Rico, we got it. The Guam counts.
It does count.
Okay.
All right, who else in the House?
I'm still worried about that island, though, that they're going to so overpopulate
I know.
it that it might tip over and
No.
capsize.
They got money in the Green New Deal for anchors.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so it's
Oh,
it's
that
more
was smart
stable
money.
now.
Money well
Nice.
spent
I
there.
did not see that in the.
The other people who would qualify, and we have to look at their overall works, not just this score. But Andy Biggs, 96.5%. He might be a candidate.
Yeah.
Dan Bishop, 98.2%. Jeff Duncan, 95%. Bob Good, 97%. Marjorie Taylor Greene is at 98%. Jim Jordan qualifies, 95.7%. I love Tom Massey. 97.9, so almost 98%. Now get this. California's Tom McClintock, 96.4%.
That's amazing. That's 100.
That's really, that is incredible.
Weighted it. Yeah, we got to weight it for California.
Does California know he's representing them?
I don't think they do. Shh. Keep it down. Yeah. Matt Rosendale, 95%. Chip Roy, 98.2. And David Schweikert, 95.7. So that's it. Those are the only people.
Where's John Fetterman on that list?
Yeah, he's not there yet. But
Where's John
you know
Fetterman?
what? I'm looking.
There's time.
I mean, he was interviewed. He was interviewed, I think, yesterday about Schumer's call to crack down on Zyn, the tobacco product, and he said that you know what? I'm going to err on the side of freedom. I'm going to err on the side of more freedom. There's bigger issues to address.
Wow.
What have they done with John Fetterman?
It's incredible, dude.
That's pretty amazing.
That absolutely is
His
amazing.
transformation is amazing. So, let's take a look at somebody not quite as amazing. This is kind of interesting. Joe Biden and his stance on abortion over the years. This may surprise you. It's not been super consistent.
Really?
What
yeah.
now?
Yeah, there's been some changes.
Spoiler alert.
Is this a different Joe Biden than the president?
Some would say president, but some would say he's different.
Check out the earlobes.
Okay.
But you tell me. Check this out.
I'm prepared to accept that the moment of conception is human life and being.
In 1974, he said, I don't like the Supreme Court decision on abortion. I think it went too far.
I think it's always a tragedy. And I think that it should be rare and safe. And I think we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions.
On no fewer than 50 occasions, he'd voted against federal funding for abortions. The quote inside the April 7th, 1994 letter reads, those of us who are opposed to abortions should not be compelled to pay for them.
I don't support public funding. I don't, because that flips the burden.
Mr.
That's
Catholic.
them telling me I have to accept a different view.
This is a guy who on the Judiciary Committee in 1982 voted for an amendment from Orrin Hatch that would allow states to ban abortion.
Abortion is always wrong.
This is from 1986, where he tells the Catholic Diocese newspaper that abortion is, quote, wrong from the moment of conception, and he praised pro-life groups for trying to push back the frontier on when abortion is legal.
I'm prepared as a matter of faith to accept that life begins at the moment of conception.
And of course,
A little different now, huh?
yeah, his opinion on that has evolved.
Thank you.
It's evolved. Jeez. That is amazing.
That most definitely is amazing.
He was essentially pro-life
Yeah.
all through the 70s and 80s, into the 90s.
I mean, that is the Catholic teachings.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
100%. That
And now he's completely against it. Now he's totally for no restrictions on abortion.
I mean, it's obviously more than just the Catholic teachings, but I mean, he professes that he's such a Catholic.
Oh, yeah. He's super Catholic.
I believe that's
Yes.
I think that's what he does call himself. Super Catholic.
Here's the thing. If he weren't American, he'd be the Pope right now. He'd be the Pope. As well as President of the United States.
Let's not get carried away.
They don't want, apparently, I think it's illegal to have a Pope who is American. Never been one, probably never will be.
Oh, wow. I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
Many of us are trying to change that.
I know you are. I know you are. Well, I'm looking for that white puff of smoke on your behalf.
Grassroots campaign for Jeff Fisher here. John Fetterman's Freedom Works score this session, his only session, obviously.
Okay.
Ready for this?
I'm ready.
0%.
Oh,
so
man.
while he can talk a big game, does he vote the way we want him to?
0. Wow.
Okay, that has to be addressed.
Yeah. I think the real John Fetterman is actually voting.
Yeah.
It's the double, the body double that's doing the interviews.
Speaking of life, as we were moments ago, last year, because of you and your contributions to Preborn's network of clinics saw over 58,000 babies saved. So thank you to everybody who made that possible. When Antoinette found out she was pregnant, she was in a really bad place. She didn't know how she could raise a child on her own. She searched for an abortion clinic, but God led her to a preborn clinic where she met her unborn baby on an ultrasound. Then when you saw the baby, when she saw her baby and heard that heartbeat, she broke down crying. And the nurse reminded her that babies are blessings from God. So she chose life. Her daughter's name is Treasure because she's a gift from God. Each of these babies are truly miraculous. And every day, Preborn celebrates 200 of these miracles. $28, $28 a month can be the difference between the life and death of a child. When a mother meets the baby on the ultrasound, hears their heartbeat, it's a divine connection that doubles the chance the baby's going to be born alive. So let's join together and help these mothers do the right thing and choose life. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby. Or you could visit preborn.com/Pat. That's preborn.com/Pat.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Sent us any photographs of the ultrasound machines that this audience provided for them with pictures of the Pat Gray Unleashed bumper stickers on them? Because I haven't seen any. And I want to see them. I want to see the ultrasound machine with the Pat Gray Unleashed bumper sticker on it.
We'll watch for that.
Yeah.
On your behalf. We'll watch for that. This next clip has been making the rounds. We always wonder what Joe's handlers are doing behind the scenes while he's babbling incoherently about something, like yesterday at the brewery in Wisconsin. My gosh.
It can't be good.
One of those handlers is Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, and he was reacting to Biden at a press conference recently and clearly sending him signals that the President of the United States was responding to in real time.
Yeah, this is wild, bro.
Watch this.
Watch Biden's handler.
Hostage negotiation.
We will.
And I don't want to get ahead of myself here because I don't know what's happened in the last 4 hours. But
Wait, what do you mean?
We've gotten great cooperation from the Qataris.
The Qataris.
I've spoken with them as well a number of times. I think the pause and that the Israelis have agreed to.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Look at him. Watch Anthony.
Split screen now.
No. I
Oh,
know
my gosh.
Stop. But I am,
No. He tells him no.
Hopeful.
Nope. And so he
Mildly
stops.
Yeah, he says, I'm going to stop.
With regard to
that's amazing.
When is this going to stop? I think it's going to stop when Hamas no longer maintains the capacity to
Okay, a
murder
little bit of a nod there. Yeah,
refuse
that's when it'll stop. Yeah, go ahead and say that.
and just do horrific things.
Now, later he's asked about Xi
Israelis.
Jinping.
And Mr. President, after today, would you still refer to President Xi as a dictator? This is a term.
Still a dictator to you?
Earlier this year.
Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that
Yeah, I remember
the
this.
guy who
Anthony
runs
was
the
not
country.
Can he say that, Anthony?
No.
No,
Anthony was
you
not
can't say
happy about
that.
that.
No.
I do remember that.
Stop with your dictator stuff.
Remember
on
when he was
Xi.
giving the interview on the airplane and Anthony was standing
right behind him, like a
with
puppet.
With that
Yep.
look of,
Yeah.
ooh,
Anthony, a lot of people don't know this, had his arm up Biden's butt and was actually moving his
To
lips.
be fair, I mean,
What? Don't knock it until you've tried it? What are you
Yeah.
saying over there? What? I
It
want
was
to hear
fine.
this.
It was like it's a hand. He's a hand puppet, and so
that is part of his job.
yeah, it is. It is so.
I mean,
So
what
little known behind the scenes fact.
emphasis on behind. Wow, what an era for America we're living through, huh? This is
What an era. Yep.
It's good stuff.
Yep. So
I'm loving it.
that's fun.
And it makes you proud.
That's fun.
Makes you proud.
Did we do the? We already did the angry thing, didn't we?
So
Did the anger
good.
thing. Oh, we do have an update. We have, look at that, 2 Adam Johnson stories in the news for one show. This is the hockey player situation. Remember the skate to the neck over in Britain?
Oh, yeah.
So now the coroner is getting involved and
He's scheduled to review the evidence in the case of Adam Johnson, the former NHL player who died while playing in England in October. The guy, I don't understand how you're on the other side
what
of
are
this.
you doing over here?
It was,
with
an,
that?
it was an accident during the game.
It was not an
It's
accident. You don't accidentally put your skate up to somebody's neck.
How are you?
He lifted his skate clear up to his neck and sliced it.
Yes, and there have been many instances throughout many hockey games and hockey players
And usually it's
cutting
a
themselves
goalie reaching
with
out
their
for a
skates.
Okay.
Yeah, not in
It
the
does
carotid artery.
Okay, so hey, sorry.
Okay, if you cut somebody with a skate on their leg, that's a little bit different than reaching up with your leg to their neck and slicing their neck open, killing them.
Go on with your story.
He got nothing.
He's got nothing.
He got
Go on
nothing.
with your story.
No, let's go.
No, go on with your story. What's the coroner going to say? Yep, he's going to say everything we already know.
He's going to say everything's fine because it was an accident. That's what he's going to say. I'm sure of it. Because, that
there's no way the
coroner
coroner knows.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out, too.
What?
Yeah.
What's he going to say?
Yeah, I mean, this is about a lawsuit, like wrongful death lawsuit from the family.
I bet it is. So he was arrested. The guy who did it was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter, though the name of the person arrested was not released. So would it be the hockey player, or is this somebody off the street?
Else.
They got him off the street.
No, we've been through this, and I think your theory was accurate at the time. It's the hot dog vendor out in the stands.
Okay.
That's who did it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Like, who done it? Well, that guy with the hot dogs.
It's always the guy you least expect.
It is.
Sure is.
Who expected the hot dog vendor?
No one.
Nobody. But they nabbed him. Matt Petgrave is the Sheffield Steelers player whose skate cut Johnson's neck.
But we don't know if he's the one. Arrested, right? Okay.
South Yorkshire police opened an investigation, which the Panthers described as a freak accident.
There you go.
Do you work for the Panthers?
I do not.
This is your description, essentially.
I do not. Yes.
Johnson's Aunt Carrie said in November his family wanted justice for the reckless action that led to Johnson's death. And the whole thing's really sad.
Sure is.
It's just...
Where do you guys think this border dispute is going to end up going? Because I don't see a way out for the Biden administration that looks good for them, right? I mean, if you do nothing, then you're weak. If you send federal troops down there, then you're saying... we want an open border or a civil war, effectively.
I guess they can say today that.
Well, they'll blame everything on Abbott. Texas.
Yes, but they can say today that Abbott is now following the demands from the Supreme Court, and we're good. Have a nice day. We're done. I mean, that's the only way out, because if they continue to just poke the bear and mobilize the National Guard to go against something that it's not really happening.
Something that looks this bad politically for an incumbent president in an election year. You almost feel like maybe they just kind of let that off to the side and distract us with something. I just feel like this Marxist administration is going to try to come up with a massive distraction so that people stop talking about it. Because the border's been a top story around the nation for months now.
They could always turn to Taylor Swift. She's a distraction. Yeah, they could just point to Taylor Swift.
Well, as long as the
Look,
Chiefs
she's at another game. Yeah. Hey, she's going to the Super Bowl this year.
Oh gosh. What
do you want to bet? If the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, it's going to be the Taylor Swift Super Bowl. That'll be fun. Oh, did you see where this stalker is stalking Taylor Swift in New York City?
Multiple times.
He was at her apartment building, and he got arrested, and they took him in, and they released him without bail. Now, he's been to her place 30 times over the last 2 months. He lives in Seattle, but he's in New York stalking Taylor Swift. So they catch him, they know about all of this, and they let him go. He goes immediately back to Taylor Swift's house and goes through her garbage. And they arrest him again. It's like, are you going to wait until a John Lennon situation happens? What are you doing here?
Oh, no.
You better do something about this guy. Get him some help.
Yeah,
put him in
needs
jail.
some help. Right.
Something.
Yeah.
This is why we have these instances that we do, because they don't do anything about these mental health cases. You got a guy who's stark raving crazy, and he's showing up asking people for Taylor Swift all the time.
I'm not being funny or
you get him help.
But what do you do?
Take him to an institution. Get him some help.
And who pays for that? Taylor? I'm okay with that.
Taylor doesn't. That's not her fault. He's doing this.
I don't want the state to pay for him.
That's what would happen, no doubt. But, I just don't want to see some kind of tragedy happen. That would be horrific. You can't just arrest him, let him go, and he goes right back to it, and then you do nothing again? Where's that going to lead?
I'm with you, but what has he done? I didn't read all of the other instances that he was there.
Well, they've
aside
given
from
him a
going
restraining
to the
order.
garbage.
Yeah, I've heard that's once you put it out on the curb.
Yeah, once you
That's
go.
public domain. I mean,
So aside from
I
going
don't
through
know.
the garbage, which I got it, he's a stalker and he wants anything, oh, Taylor touched this banana peel. But aside from doing that, what has he done? I'd like to know what he's done that it's actually illegal.
Well, if you've saddled
And I'm not
him,
being funny, I'm just
you've
asking.
strapped him with a restraining order.
Right.
He can't come within a certain amount of
How
feet
many
of you.
ever? Yeah.
And then he's violated the law, and then you can
Absolutely.
put him away,
Yeah.
or you can get him help.
How many active restraining orders do you have against you, Jeff Fisher?
I don't,
Okay,
I don't know the answer to that number.
How many over the course of your very long life, and then how many
don't know
are
the
active?
answer to that question.
I'm Greg Abbott. I ignore any kind of judge's order.
Well, and first of all, I mean,
First of all, I mean, a judge. What is he? Who made him a judge?
Thank you.
Why is that? Why is that appropriate for a judge to tell me what to do?
Look, I will say this: my 100 feet is different than any other people's 100 feet.
I see. I mean, maybe this is a different question. How many all-you-can-eat buffets have a restraining order against you right now? Is that better?
All of them.
What do you
all
mean?
of them.
What does that look? Do you need us to explain what we're going for here?
What? Why?
See, you like food.
I thought that seems like it crossed the line.
I'm just trying to reference your
Seems like it went across
legal
your
issues,
line.
bro.
I think he's just trying to,
I can't help
get
it
a
if your
specific
legal issues
number
cross
from you.
into
I don't
the
feel that's fat shaming in any way. He's just looking for a specific number
No,
here.
it's fact shaming.
Yeah, right. All right, see you Monday.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Look, Pat, look.